you today?
Doing well, thank you.
Thanks for speaking with us.
Oh, it's great to be here.
Now, I know that Brian got pulled away,
Yep.
but he's kind of an innovator in this kind of cinema-going experience. So what did he bring to Look?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So look, after the pandemic, we realized that, for 2 years, year and a half, people have had a lot of different luxuries at home. So we had to create something that was going to encourage and entice people to leave the house and really come out and enjoy the entertainment experience. So we designed the whole Look concept around that. So hospitality is a big part of it. And then the technology actually gives you the ability through your phone to order whatever you would like through the menu, and then we bring it right to you. And the beautiful thing about that is there's very few distractions that occur, because we bring the food in, but you don't have waiters going all over the place, so they don't interrupt the movie-going experience, which is great. And then the third element, which was just near and dear to Brian's heart, is the food and beverage, right? So he pretty much went around the country, and he was able to identify some of his favorite dishes, from different places around the country. And then we incorporated those into the menu. And then we're constantly changing and catering the menus depending upon where the locations are. So it's very customized to each individual place. So those are really the three things I think that helps Look stand out from any other dine-in and other theaters, in this economy.
Can you give me an example of one of those localized or customized menu items?
Sure. So in, for example, in Chandler, Arizona, which is a suburb which is right outside of Phoenix, it's very common in the Phoenix market for restaurants and for brewers to come together. So beer brewers and microbrewed and such.
Nice.
So our theater in Chandler is the Look Dine-in Cinemas in Chandler. Actually, we have our own brewery there. We make our own beer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we're able to share that, with other restaurants up and down the downtown area, of Chandler. So yeah.
That's really interesting. I've
Right.
never seen a movie theater that makes its own beer.
Right, and a lot of people will come in because our brewer there, she's fantastic, and she'll make a new batch for all the upcoming movies. So people are constantly coming in, even if they're not seeing a movie, they're actually coming in to enjoy a cold beer and and then kind of relax and enjoy the environment. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You have a niche kind of market
That's right.
there.
That's right.
That's great. There are currently 8 cinema locations with a 9th opening.
there are currently 9,
Oh,
and
there are 9.
and number 10 opens next week in Arlington, Texas. Yeah,
Nice.
so we're opening with Doctor Strange, so we're very excited about that.
Oh,
Yep.
good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many more are there possibly in the works?
Sure.
or-
3 more for sure that'll be open before the end of the year, and then we have our eyes on about 5 other locations. So 18 to 20 by the end of the year is probably safe to say.
Wow, that's quite an expansion.
Yeah. It's been one a month for the last 10 months, so we're about 100 screens now.
You guys
Yeah.
have been a little busy.
We have been. Yes. Yeah.
You mentioned that one of your theaters is near a college campus.
That's right.
And that you get a lot of business that way, and you offer like a student discount.
That's right.
So, what kind of dynamic does that bring as opposed to other locations?
Sure,
that you have?
sure. No, and I think it's important to call out that theater's in Tampa, and it's right by the USF campus, University of South Florida campus, and it truly has become part of the university. Where students will come over and enjoy a movie, at night, and fraternities, sororities, just people who are involved with the university as well. But really, what that lends itself towards is a pillar of ours, which is to be part of the community. So that's an example in Tampa, is where we're part of that community. But it really doesn't matter. Our main areas of the country right now are Southern California and Texas and New York and Florida. And no matter where the theater is located, it's so important that we're connecting with the community, whether it be with some of the content that we're showing, alternative content for sure. And because we're a dine-in concept, we always make sure that we have favorite food and beverage, items that are, as we mentioned, that are very popular to our guests who are visiting our theater in those particular markets.
That's terrific. I love that you can customize it that way. What has been the response from your communities that you're currently located in?
Yeah, it's been very exciting. People have been, coming out of the pandemic now. People have been very excited to leave the house, right? There's nothing better than enjoying movies and really all different types of content in a nice auditorium with great presentation and surround sound and then being able to combine that with the dine-in concept where you can actually enjoy a great meal, craft cocktail, or a dessert. It's been remarkable to see how everyone has embraced that as we've been coming out of the pandemic.
What's the drawback of a dine-in theater?
There's not a whole lot of, from a drawback standpoint. It's very important that we're able to deliver the food fresh and hot to the seats, right? So, we usually wait ask people to arrive about 20 to 30 minutes early. And once they do, they have the opportunity to sit down and then order, off their phone. Once again, we bring it right to you. And then you're able to enjoy, and if you want another beer, another glass of wine, halfway through the movie, you can just order up on your phone. So there really aren't any drawbacks per se. It's just that, it adds another level. We call it an elevated experience. It adds another level to the movie-going experience that we really have to make sure that we're delivering on each time.
Absolutely, because if you start out with a certain quality of food and then the quality diminishes,
that's right,
you're going to have issues.
That's right. And you have to make sure too that you're providing people with a lot of options. Because when you go in there, you may want something different, from a food standpoint or from a cocktail standpoint, or even from a content standpoint. We're talking about here at CinemaCon this week. We're talking about some of the big blockbuster movies that are coming out, like Doctor Strange and Top Gun, and we just saw a little bit of the Buzz Lightyear picture that's coming out that really looks pretty darn good.
It does.
But that's the Hollywood content is fantastic. But we've also noticed that our guests like sporting events like UFC fights have been very popular, musicals and plays, and then the gaming aspect has been really interesting as well. Esports and gaming in the auditoriums too. So the point is, we come back to this sense of community, right? And we're creating this entertainment destination for people who live in the community so that they can come and enjoy different types of experiences on a more regular basis. Yeah.
I want to switch a little bit because we started talking a little about movies coming out in the box office. Obviously, box office was pretty slow coming out of COVID, and then we got Spider-Man.
Right.
And then we got the Batman.
Right.
So are these blockbusters a sign of what's the renewed health of the box office, or do you think they're kind of one-offs? Like Doctor Strange is certainly going to be a big draw for people, but will Lightyear also be a big draw?
Right. No, we've been studying this, because it's interesting because we're looking at a lot of what we call big blockbuster tentpole movies, and those are events, and people certainly do want to go out and enjoy those. But we found too that, especially with the dine-in concept, a lot of movies that are geared towards the female demographic work really well for like Girls' Night Out and such. Like Downton Abbey's coming up. I think that's going to be The Lost City just recently. And just making sure there's a good flow of content so that moms or girls who want to get together and just go out and have a good time for a little bit. This is the perfect environment for that because you can have your cocktails and you can have something to eat and you can enjoy a great show with the people that you enjoy being with. So I think my point is that it's going to be all different types of content is what we're studying. That seems to be, and the family films too. I haven't touched on those. Those seem to be making a resurgence, which is wonderful to see. Sonic 2 came out. And it blew away, from a Look Dine-in Cinema standpoint, it blew away a lot of our expectations, in our projections, which is great. And we mentioned Lightyear, and I think there's 2 or 3 others that are coming out this summer. Minions, of course, is another one that I think is going to do really well with families. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to see the families coming back to the theaters.
That's right.
I love the concept of Girls' Night Out. And I was going to say, I think you should do it for Mother's Day, but that's Doctor Strange weekend, so maybe not.
Right.
But what kind of ideas like that do you guys have coming down the pike? Is there anything you're really excited about? Is there something that's kind of beginning in the works that you can tease a little bit?
Yeah, no, there's so many fun things that are happening, in all the other areas that we talked about as far as food and beverage and certainly content. But I think my favorite part has really been watching the communities embrace the theater because they make it their own, which you love to see. And I think being able to give back, right? So many people have been able to come back to work and come and work in an environment that they love and they enjoy and they're very passionate about. So I think my favorite thing going forward is just being able to provide some movie theater venues that bring people back, so that not only guests but also employees to come back and earn a living wage and be able to just to be able to participate and do what they love, for a living. So it's kind of exciting. Yeah.
I read that about Brian, that he has a model of giving back.
Yes.
And it starts with the theaters and the employees.
That's
so
right.
To speak. So what is it like working for someone like that?
No, it's fantastic because he looks at business and life through a very interesting lens, right? So, he's an entrepreneur at heart, which entrepreneurs are very innovative in the way that they think, but they also see things a little bit differently, which is wonderful. So for him, what's the most important part about everything that we're doing is actually being able to open up a lot of theaters that may have closed for one reason or another, and then make sure that those theaters are an important part of the community, and then, as I mentioned, give back to the people in the community. That's first and foremost, in his mind. And then, just like all of us, he has a love, obviously, for the entertainment industry, but he really has a love for our employees and then the communities that we're serving.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I love to hear stories like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am excited to see the growth coming. If I make it to the other coast of Tampa, I'll be sure to check out the theater.
No, you should. Yeah.
But thank you so much for your time
Very
today.
nice to see you. Thank you.